hopefully help you get this section down from 31 on in Fantasia on a Theme by Tallis. I think what will help you is to break it down into its constituent parts. So the first thing is to recognize that the majority of what you have in that section with all of the 16th notes is in large part 4 different arpeggios. And an arpeggio is a chord that is broken up into its constituent notes. And those 4 arpeggios are an A major arpeggio, an A minor arpeggio, a G minor 7, and a D minor 7 arpeggio. So what I have available for you to download and use as a practice tool in the resources section of the high school band students Schoology group is the preparatory sheet that you see here on the screen that has it in a couple different patterns. But divided by the double bar lines are each one of these arpeggios. So these first 2 measures, up and down, are your your A major arpeggio. Okay. Your second one is your A minor arpeggio. The next 2 measures are your G minor 7 arpeggio. And then the last 3 measures are your D minor 7 arpeggio. And I have them going as high and as low as you actually see them in your section of Fantasia on a Theme by Tallis. What makes part of this tricky is if you look at your A major and your A minor arpeggios, the only difference you have is A major has C sharp and A minor has C natural. Between your first 2 arpeggios, meaning between this first line and this second line, your A major and A minor arpeggios only have 3 notes. Your G minor 7 and your D minor 7 arpeggios actually have 4 notes. G minor 7 has G, B flat, D, and F, and your D minor 7 arpeggio has D, F, A, and C. So what I've done on this page for you, and again, you can print this out, it's over in the resources section of our Schoology group, is I've tried to give them to you just up and down, the entire range of how you see them in the music in Thomas Tallis, and then in some different patterns that you somewhat see them in the music as well. So once you get past them and you look down here, they're kind of in groups of 3s, and we just keep going up, and then we come back down. And the minor 7th arpeggios we do in groups of 4s, and again we just keep going up. We get to the top, and then we come back down. You can do them slurred, you can do them tongued, but I think the first step is getting comfortable with each one of these arpeggios, knowing the notes that are in them, as high and as low as you can get for each one, and then maybe practicing them in these patterns where we do the groups of 3s and then continue to move up. And then when up is comfortable, starting as high as you need to and going back down until that gets comfortable, maybe putting them together. Tongue them, slur up, tongue down, tongue up, slur down. Any different way you can do that, the better to help you out. But this is one way to look at it rather than just diving in and trying to practice it. Sometimes you need to understand what goes into a part before you can actually practice that part. Now, that being said, let's talk about the actual part. So, here it is. I think to get this broken down and to practice this in a way that's going to make sense, take a look and try to find those sections in the music that correspond to those different arpeggios. So we're going to do some of that now, see if we can figure it out. So as I look at this, starting at measure 31, we've got almost 2 measures that start off right away where we've got this A major arpeggio. So I'm going to mark that for you guys. Okay. These next couple measures here, starting on this C and going up to here, we've got that A. Now we switch to A minor. That C natural is the telltale, indicator. right here, very briefly, we've got a little bit of that G minor 7 arpeggio. We're going to mark that as well. Back here, now again, we get, for a good chunk of time, your A major again. But there are some extra notes which we'll talk about in a little bit. You see our C sharp right where my arrow is. That's going to be indicative of that A major again. And if I scan through and I know my sharps carry through, I keep that C sharp there, and I see lots of A's and E's. And then here again is my next spot where I'm going to have that A minor. And if I keep looking through there and still have C here, and I get some D's and stuff here, and D and A and D, and okay. This is kind of not sure. Now we get back to here, but we're definitely sure that we have D major there, or A major. So we're going to go back to, going to make sure we know that's A major again. Now, not everything's going to fit neatly into some of those different categories, right? We still have C sharps and A's and E's, and C sharps and A's and E's, and here's some A's and F's. So we could call that D minor 7. Let's do that right here, just to change it a little bit. But then right here again we get some A's and E's and C sharps, and we know at least up to this point we're back to our A major again. So hopefully you're starting to see a little bit as to which arpeggio is the one that is used most frequently. Here we get that B flat and G real quick. Then we get C and A, and this could be either an A minor or it could be part of that D minor 7. We're not sure. We get that A and F, A and E. We know this is definitely A minor, but we have AF, AC. Let's make this, we'll say this is part of that D minor 7 arpeggio here. We're not sure. Could be wrong. But here we have A, E, C natural, A, C natural, E, so we're pretty confident about that. Here we get some things that are a little bit different, the B flat to the F. That could be our G minor 7, then we get A to F and A to D, and then lots of A's and D's, so we know definitely beginning here, maybe even as early as here, we definitely have some of that D minor 7 arpeggio going on. We'll back up and call this your G minor 7. May or may not be, but we know that arpeggio uses both of those notes. And down here we get a mixture of things. Now, like I said, this is not an exact science, but maybe this will help you out. Once you start to maybe label these and see where some of those bigger patterns are with the different arpeggios, some other things to look at are some notes that are in those patterns that don't fit, that aren't part of the arpeggios. So I'm looking here and I'm looking at a lot of times we have this B natural here, which is not part of that A major arpeggio, but it's part of that pattern. Here we've got a G sharp, again not part of that A major arpeggio. Here we've got an F natural, not part of the A major arpeggio. So those might be notes to circle. I can't circle them on the program, but those are things for you to take a look at. And that B natural keeps coming back to us whenever we have those in that A major part. Okay. Here we've got a G as we're looking through this D minor 7, that possible D minor 7 pattern. G is not part of that D minor 7 arpeggio. Here we've got a B natural in that A minor 7 or that A minor arpeggio. Again, not part of that arpeggio, so you're not going to necessarily be doing just those arpeggios, so it's really important to find some of those instances where it's not going to be simply going up and down the arpeggio or doing an arpeggio pattern. Make sure you know where those extra notes are and work those in to the larger arpeggio pattern. So what I'm going to do here is plug in a couple different tempos and just keep playing it back for you so you hear it and give you a chance to play along as many times as you can to help you out with it. And we're going to start slow. So hopefully that is helpful for you guys. Don't hesitate to come and ask questions. If you want me to set something up where this plays back even slower, if we break part of it down, we want to chunk it a little bit differently, that's great. Just don't hesitate to ask. Thanks for your time, and again, I hope this was helpful.